You hear it all the time on the news, right? GDP. It's always presented as this ultimate scorecard for how well a country is doing. But that one little number, it only tells a tiny fraction of the story. So let's get into it. Let's really dig into what GDP is measuring and, maybe more importantly, what it's missing completely.
I mean, on the surface, it sounds like a simple question, doesn't it? If GDP is going up, that must mean we're all doing better. But is that really true? Does a bigger economy automatically mean a better life for you and me? That's the core question we're going to tackle in this explainer. Okay, so the first big problem with GDP is that it's basically just a giant calculator for anything bought and sold. If money changes hands, GDP is all over it. But if no money is exchanged, no matter how valuable that activity is for our society, it's just, poof, invisible.
And this is where things get really weird. If a parent decides to leave a paid job to stay home and raise their child, believe it or not, GDP actually goes down. But think about it. The family's well-being, that probably skyrockets, right? GDP only sees the lost paycheck, not the incredible value of that parent's care. And it's not just about childcare, not by a long shot. I mean, think of all the essential work that holds our communities together. Volunteering at a food bank, helping an elderly neighbor with their groceries, the time we spend with friends and family. None of this stuff has a price tag. And because of that, to GDP, it's all worth a big fat zero. Nothing.
So you've got this whole world of invisible work. But then there's another massive blind spot for GDP. And that's, well, it's us. It's how we actually feel. Our happiness, our mental health, our sense of purpose. These things are absolutely central to a good life, but they just don't show up on any economic spreadsheet.
This quote here from Khan Academy, it just nails it. You can't buy a strong community. You can't buy a feeling of safety and belonging. Yet these things are fundamental to our standard of living. GDP just breezes right by all of that.
And you know, the research backs this up. After a country reaches a certain level of wealth, more money and more economic growth don't really move the needle on happiness. It's a classic case of diminishing returns. A country can keep stacking up wealth, but its people, they don't really get any happier.
All right, this next one, this is probably one of the most shocking things about GDP. To GDP, all economic activity is good activity. It literally can't tell the difference between spending that helps us and spending that hurts us. It's all just spending.
And a huge piece of this puzzle is, where's all that growth actually going? A country's overall GDP can be soaring, which sounds great, but if all those gains are just flowing to a tiny group at the very top, the income for the average person can stay completely flat or even go down. That big flashy GDP number you see on the news, it totally masks what's really happening for most people.
Okay, brace yourself for this one, because it's a real head-scratcher. Things like disasters, social problems, they can actually make GDP go up. Cleaning up a massive oil spill, that's billions of dollars in economic activity. More people getting sick from smoking, well, that's more healthcare spending. Building more prisons, that boosts GDP too. It's completely upside down.
And what about the planet? Well, this means a country can literally trash its own future just to make the numbers look good today. Chopping down an entire forest for lumber adds to GDP, sure, but the massive long-term costs of losing that ecosystem, the clean air, the water, the biodiversity, it never gets subtracted. It's like it never happened.
So yeah, it's pretty clear GDP has some serious flaws. But here's the good news. We are not stuck with it. All around the world, smart people are coming up with way better ways to measure what actually matters for our well-being. I mean, just look at a few of these. You've got the Human Development Index, which brings in things like education and how long we live. There's the Social Progress Index, looking at our basic needs and opportunities, and the Genuine Progress Indicator, which actually tries to subtract the costs of things like pollution and inequality. The whole point is to get a fuller, more human view of what success looks like.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. GDP is stuck over here just looking at production. These alternatives build on that. They add in these crucial layers about our health, our society, and our planet. They're trying to give us the whole picture, not just one tiny corner of it.
So, okay, why does any of this really matter? It's simple. What we measure is what we manage. If the only thing we're measuring is economic output, then that's the only thing our policies are ever going to care about. When you change how you keep score, you change the whole game. And that's really the core idea here. The goal can't just be grow, 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 no matter what the cost. It has to be about creating a society where that growth is actually sustainable, where the benefits are shared with everyone,
and where people are genuinely living happier, healthier lives.
Look, this is doable, but it's going to take a shift from pretty much everyone. Governments need to start using these broader measures to actually make policy decisions. The media can start reporting on our well-being, not just the latest growth figures. And researchers can keep making these tools even better so we can get an even sharper picture of what real progress actually is.
Now, let's be super clear here. Nobody's saying we should just throw GDP in the trash. It's still a really useful tool for understanding economic production. But we have to see it for what it is, just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. Think of it as the opening chapter of the story, not the final conclusion.
And so that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. Imagine if our news headlines and national priorities were all about health, community, and the environment. Seriously, just think about it. If we actually measured the things that truly matter, what kind of world would we start building then?